Your guide to transport across membranes is the main types of membrane transport that you need to know about for your A-level biology. And if you find these videos useful, then please leave a like, and if you'd like to see more, then make sure you follow the channel. Okay, so first up we have regular passive diffusion, and this is the movement of small particles from areas of high to low concentration. So we can see there's a lot more of these particles up here in this top section than there are down here, which is the direction the particles are moving in. Now, because they're moving from high to low concentration, we say that they're moving down the concentration gradient. And this also means that this process doesn't require ATP, which is why we call it passive. Now, because these molecules are passing straight through the cell membrane, it's only going to work for small non-polar molecules like oxygen and carbon dioxide. Next up we have facilitated diffusion. So this is still passive, it's still moving down the concentration gradient from high to low concentration, but now we're dealing with larger molecules, so things like glucose or ions that can't just pass through the membrane by themselves. So they're going to need some sort of channel or carrier protein in order to facilitate that movement across the membrane. So you can see the protein here, and you can think of these proteins as being a bit like a gate or a tunnel, which allows these molecules to pass across the membrane. Next up we have osmosis. So this is the movement of water molecules across what we call a partially permeable membrane. And that's a membrane which will allow some things to pass across, but not all things. Now, water molecules are very small, so they're able to pass through the partially permeable membrane, but larger molecules like solute molecules wouldn't necessarily be able to pass through it. Now, in osmosis, we say that the water moves from an area of high water potential to an area of low water potential, with pure water having the highest water potential. So if we have a look at the diagram here, we can see that on the left-hand side, it's only water, so that has a very high water potential. But on the right-hand side, we've added some solute molecules, and they're going to lower the water potential of the right-hand side. That's going to mean the water is going to move from the left to the right, from the area of high water potential to the area of low water potential, like we can see in the second diagram over here. And this symbol that I've just drawn here is the symbol for water potential. Now, this process is also passive, it doesn't require ATP, and this is really important in some vital life processes like helping cells to maintain their shape and helping to maintain turgor in plant cells. Next up we have active transport, and this is the first of our processes which does require energy. And it requires energy because in active transport we're going to move molecules from areas of low concentration to areas of high concentration. This is the first type where we're moving them against the concentration gradient. So in this diagram here you'll see that we have a carrier protein in the middle, and this is going to use ATP to change shape. And as it does that, it's going to pass these molecules from the area of low concentration to the area of high concentration. So they'll be heading this way. Now, some common examples of active transport are iron uptake in the root hair cells and glucose absorption in the kidneys. And our final type of transport is co-transport, which is a form of active transport where one molecule is used to help move another molecule across the cell membrane. Now, we say this is like a form of active transport because it's a multi-step process and ATP isn't needed for every stage of the process. But it does usually rely on an ion gradient which is created via active transport. So we're going to have a look at a really good example here that you need to know for A-level biology, and this is the absorption of glucose in the small intestine using the sodium-glucose co-transport model. So it starts here with this sodium-potassium pump, where ATP is used to pump sodium ions out of the epithelial cells which surround the small intestine and into the small intestine itself. This generates a really high concentration of sodium ions in the small intestine, and they're going to want to flow back into the cell down their concentration gradient. But the only way they can do this is through the sodium-glucose co-transporter protein. So as the sodium ions flow back into the cell through this protein, they're going to drag a glucose molecule through with them. Now, we say it's like a form of active transport because ATP was used in the initial stage at the potassium-sodium pump, but we didn't need it in the second stage where the glucose was moved into the cell. Here's a quick summary of the different types of membrane transport. Let me know what topics you'd like covering in the next videos.